right up, step right up. See the show under the big tent. Yes, sirree. Just 1 nickel, 1 5 cent. No, I'm not really a barker, but I feel like one standing in front of the big top for the exhibition for the Great Race is in Hollywood, California. Actually, it's in Burbank and... Tony Curtis! Oh, no! Tony Curtis is in the Great Race. I don't know whether he just ran past or was it Jack Lemmon? The picture I just saw, I hate to do this to my audience, but we're going to talk about it before they get a chance to see it. Okay?
Well, that way we can tell them that it's marvelous since they haven't seen it already.
I must say that you did a beautiful job, but you're so handsome. I hate to see them make you up into such a grotesque character as Mr. Fay.
I don't mind them making me up. I'm delighted to hear you say you think I'm handsome. But anyway, I loved it, I must say. I think actors probably love to hide behind other parts or be somebody else. I don't know what the motivation is, but I love doing it.
Well, I would think that you have done more true character parts in a leading role than any other actor.
Yes, thank heaven. That's where I've been lucky, I think, because the more successful films that I've been in actually have been actually not leading men per se, but character leads. But an actor always loves them more anyhow, because there's much more latitude and more to investigate, more to play, rather than just being the straight leading man, you know, and the prototype that we've all come to know.
Well, I understand you got hurt during this film. Is that true?
We all did, more or less. I got hurt a couple of times, but not seriously. Painfully, but not seriously. I did a crazy thing on one dive out a window where always when you dive, this is probably very dull, but when you dive in film like a stuntman, or if you do it yourself, it's like throwing a punch. You have to learn how to do it and not get hit, or not to hit somebody else. Well, diving out a window, you never dive like you normally do, or head first, because you will hit your head and forget it. You'll crack your neck or your back. You dive actually flat and land on mattresses flat.
Right.
I dove head first, going for a flagpole early in the film, and I heard my whole back literally pop like that, and I didn't move, and I told them, I said, I am hurt, and I don't know whether I should move, and they said, don't. Then we slowly did the thing. Strangely enough, the next morning, my chest began to hurt. What had happened is that the shock of hitting my head had snapped my back, but it didn't hurt it. I had pulled all of the ligaments and muscles on my chest, and it was about 7 to 8 months, literally, before I could comfortably move my arms, which I had to do for the next 7 months in the film without it hurting. But it wasn't serious.
Stop filming.
No, they couldn't. They couldn't. I was shot. I used to get penicillin shots or whatever it is, Novocaine or something shots, and then tape my chest through the film.
But it's worth it. The film was great.
Well, I'm delighted you liked it.
We'll sell the film, and all we have to do is get them there, and you'll sell it the rest of the way, Jack.
Well, I hope so.
Tremendous job.
Thank you.
Thank you. If I might, I'd like to just start out by talking to Dorothy Provine so that you can eavesdrop or listen if you would. Dorothy, when you were in the Roaring 20s, you were really the star in our family anyway, and started on television, and we followed you very carefully.
I appreciate that very much. I really do.
Well, you should have the little, bandeau or what it is around your forehead.
All the beads and everything. I think people still expect to see me coming out in the evening, arrayed in all of that mess of stuff I used to wear.
So I bet it was fun, wasn't it?
Oh, I loved it. I did enjoy it. I was glad when it was over because it was very exhausting, and one can do that only for a certain period of time, and then it begins to wear a little thin. But while I was doing it, I did love it. It was fun. It was mad.
Did you originally, I understand you're from Washington.
Yes, yeah.
Were you a dancer, a singer, or an actress, or what?
No, that was all a ghastly mistake. I majored in drama at the University of Washington, and I studied Chekhov, Ibsen, Shakespeare, and the classics and whatnot. And I never sung, never danced. And they asked me if I could sing and dance. And I lied. And I don't lie. I was the only lie I really have ever told my life. And I said yes, because I thought, well, I've seen lots of people who really aren't so good, and perhaps if I rehearse a lot, I can do it as well as they can do it. And as it happened, they liked what I did, and by doing it every week, and I did my own choreography, at night I would go home and make up these routines, I found that without realizing it, I had been watching movies and television and listening to records for years and imitating people, not consciously, you know, doing it around the house and whatnot. And I had a feeling for that period, it worked out okay. But it was strange how it happened, you know.
Well, I think that
Never lie again.
I'm glad you did, because we would have been absent a great talent. Dorothy, in this picture, The Great Race, do you do any singing or dancing in it?
I sing a song that Johnny Mercer and Hank Mancini wrote for me. It's called He Shouldn't Have Had Naught and a Swang on Me. And it's kind of funny. The number's cute. And they're going to release it, as a matter of fact, on an album.
Good.
And I hope that people buy it. It's kind of...
I'm sure they will. And Dorothy, it's been nice being with you.
Thank you. It's lovely meeting you.
That's as short as 2.5.
Oh, dear baby.
There's no need in introductions here, but since I've already told you who you were going to see next, it's Tony Curtis, of course.
Hello,
Tony,
Ida, how are you?
In this picture I was privileged to see before my audience, I noticed that your white costumes in it are quite striking.
Yes.
Do you anticipate really any of the men's fashions going to more white?
Oh, sure, I think so. I tell you, I spoke to a good friend of mine in New York who's in the clothing business, and he was telling me about men's suits for the next season, and he said there's a great interest in many of the manufacturers of men's clothes to make white suits. And I think they're terrific. You know, they wear them all in South America and in the south of France. In fact, I had some made a couple of years ago, and I think they just look wonderful on a man.
Well, they certainly look wonderful on you.
Thank you. But I think a white suit has a nice quality to it, you know. Even when the weather gets really soggy and unhappy feeling. And I tell you, white is much cooler than a dark suit. In California, I find it so.
As cold as it is now, we need black,
it's kind of
right?
chilly, isn't it? Huh? Middle of the summer and it's cold. It's crazy.
With your beautiful complexion, if I can say beautiful
Please,
complexion, with your white suits, it was quite striking in the picture.
Thank you.
I won't go into too much about the picture because I think I have already whetted the audience appetite to see it. It's such a great comedy. Your participation in this was the handsome charmer. May I say that I compared you to Earl Flynn with this?
Oh, wonderful. Well, I'm delighted to hear that. Thank you, Ida. That's a great compliment. He was, for my tastes, one of the best leading men that ever was, you know.
Right.
What a peculiar and interesting career that man had. Fabulous. If you see some of his old films, he was so elegant, wasn't he?
Right.
So it's a great compliment, and I appreciate it.
Well, this is the flavor you lent. As a matter of fact, in my consensus of the whole film is Tweety Bird and Sylvester at the first, Laurel and Hardy in the middle, and Earl Flynn in the end.
Oh, terrific.
So you can't beat
I'm so
that,
pleased.
can
Thank you. No.
Did you have a lot of fun going around the locations? I
Yes, it
understand
was.
most of done.
We shot a great deal in Europe. We shot a great deal in California. We went up north, California. We shot in Kentucky. It was quite difficult, you know, traveling around and keeping the consistency of the film. You know, we worked on it for 6 months, and it was a very long time to try to keep your interest from getting tired, you know. But we got through it all right, and everybody got through with friends. So
Right.
it speaks well, I think, of the production.
Did you have your wife with you on some of the locations?
Oh yes, my
She's
wife.
So beautiful.
Thank you. She joined me. She joined me everywhere. We travel together. Now that she's not in the business anymore, it's
Right.
quite easy.
Congratulations. Thank you.
you.
So much.
Yeah, you better hold it.
Keenan Wynn is a name that will last forever and ever and ever as one of the great actors. And Keenan, I wouldn't have recognized you. In fact, when you drove up in your beautiful new sports car, I didn't know who you were.
Oh, well, listen, you're very kind about that actor stuff. That made me feel very good, you know. But I guess the thing that throws you is the beard, because I'm doing a couple of heavies and westerns now. And actually, in The Great Race, may I show you something?
Please do.
In The Great Race, I look, can you see that?
Right.
I'm all shaven and bald, you see?
I don't like you like that.
I like it better this way, too.
I like it, even with the beard. Shall we let them in on the secret? I asked him what kind of aftershave lotion he used, and we didn't realize it was kind of funny until I...
Yeah, well, aphrodisia.
Right.
Aphrodisia, which is by Fabergé. Maybe I'll get a free case
Well,
now,
I
huh?
think you should. Actually, this picture of the Great Race is a wild picture, isn't it? A lot of
It is
fun.
really. It's in the what I call the true tradition of what a movie should be. A movie is basically moving pictures. So it really doesn't need the talk. When you come down to it, the great movies, when we think of them, the great comedies, the great things were silence. Well, this has sound. Of course, there's dialogue in it, but it's almost secondary. Everything is visual. And that's what I think is wonderful about this picture. Actually, it could be released, I think, almost anywhere and would not have to be dubbed. You know what I mean by dubbed?
Right.
Wouldn't have to put in the foreign languages. It
Right.
wouldn't matter.
It speaks for itself.
Yeah.
Would you say it's a true satire type thing, or?
No, it is not a satire. It is a true, out-and-out, full comedy.
High-throwing and all.
Satiric, I think, would be the wrong phrase for it. You know, Dr. Strangelove was a satire. This isn't. This is, dialogue is secondary, you know.
Was this taken from a book by any chance, Keenan?
No, it's taken from a real incident. There was a race from New York to Paris in 1908, and it's more or less, they use that as the background, you know. But of course, they make it an out-and-out comedy, you know. But there really was a race.
Do you have a love affair in the picture?
No, I have with the car. The car. Can you show them the car that Tony and I drive?
Sure.
Will you be able to
yes,
show them
I'll
that?
have a picture of it.
Well, that white car is the one I'm in love with. I keep that running. I'm the mechanic who keeps it running.
Well, good luck.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Keenan Wynn.
Else. I don't know what the motivation is, but I love doing it.
Well, I would think that you have done more true character parts in a leading role than any other actor.
Yes, thank heaven. That's where I've been lucky, I think, because the more successful films that I've been in actually have been actually not leading men per se, but character leads. But an actor always loves them more anyhow, because there's much more latitude and more to investigate, more to play, rather than...
Oh, no! Tony Curtis is in the great race. I don't know whether he just ran past or was it Jack Lemmon? The picture I just saw, I hate to do this to my audience, but we're going to talk about it before they get a chance to see it. Okay?
Oh, well, that way we can tell them that it's marvelous, since they haven't seen it already.
I must
No.
say that you did a beautiful job, but you're so handsome, I hate to see them make you up into such a grotesque character
I
as
don't
Mr.
mind them
Faith.
making me up. I'm delighted to hear you say you think I'm handsome. But anyway, I loved it, I must say. I think actors probably love to hide behind other parts or be somebody as being the straight leading man, you know, and the prototype that we've all come to know.
Well, I understand you got hurt during this film. Is that true?
We all did, more or less. I got hurt a couple of times, but not seriously. Painfully, but not seriously. I did a crazy thing on one dive out a window where always when you dive, this is probably very dull, but when you dive in film like a stuntman, or if you do it yourself, it's like throwing a punch. You have to...
Step right up, step right up. See the show under the big tent. Yes, sirree. Just 1 nickel, 1 5 cent. No, I'm not really a barker, but I feel like one standing in front of the big top for the exhibition for the great race is in Hollywood, California. Actually, it's in Burbank and... Tony!